When you're visiting Denver or just exploring your own city, there are basic things to do that pretty much everyone suggests. Many of those things are worth doing, but when you can take regular things and turn them into unique experiences, you can make your time here even more memorable. In a world where 76% of consumers prefer to spend on experiences over material things, you can book or go to all of these things without a lot of lead time. These can also be great dates and things to do when your friends are visiting. Only one is really expensive, but I think it's worth it. I'll get into that later. Let's find some things to do in Denver and make them better. If you're like a lot of people, when you travel, you want to have a great, memorable meal. Instead of just sitting and eating or doing something you can do in a lot of places like Korean barbecue, turn a meal into an experience by booking a sushi making class at Izakaya Den or Uchi Denver. These are two of the best sushi spots in the area. Izakaya Den is by the same people as Sushi Den, which has become kind of a go-to recommendation even by people who have never been there. They also have another restaurant called Tamaki Den, which is one of my favorite sushi restaurants in the city, but Izakaya Den is where they do those classes. And here's a picture of some of the sushi that we made during my wife's birthday, not including the hand rolls and a few other things that we ate live during the class. And I know Uchi is from Texas, but there's a lot to like in the Denver location too. If their sushi making class doesn't fit into your schedule, they also have a very filling omakase that won't completely break the bank, but if you can make one of those classes, they're a lot of fun and a great way to meet people while you're in town. When a lot of people come to Denver, they go to Red Rocks for a concert. It might even be a bucket list thing for some people. It's a great idea. It's one of the best concert venues anywhere in the country. But if you visit during the summer or the fall, there are special things like yoga on the rocks, fitness on the rocks, and film on the rocks, and you can kind of guess what those things are. All of these are really special in their own way, and they appeal to different groups of people. Before we had kids, my wife and I used to love doing random gym classes that we couldn't do at home when we traveled, and fitness on the rocks could be a great way to do that while you're in Denver, but don't go your hardest because the altitude thing is real. But if you're traveling with kids, watching a movie outside, staying up late at an awesome outdoor venue can create a core memory for your kids. For yoga on the rocks, I will say that you have to wake up really, really early. You will probably nap after you go, but this is a near transcendental experience to be at Red Rocks while the sun is rising, seeing everybody's arms go in the air. It is amazing. Even if you're a casual yoga person, you can totally do it, and this will be something that you will talk about for years. If you or anyone you're traveling with even moderately enjoy sports, the Mile High Stadium Tour is pretty great. The beginning of the tour includes the Colorado Sports Hall of Fame, which isn't like a really big thing, but it's kind of a 2-for-1 experience. I used to work for a college football team. I've ran on the field multiple times at the stadium for the Broncos 7K, and I've still done this for fun. They are very strict that you can only film when you're outside, but when you're inside, you get to go to the team's luxury suite, check out the press box, and even go into the visitors' locker room. And even if you hate the Broncos, you can go into the visitors' locker room and use the same toilet that your favorite player has for the past few decades. It's wheelchair and stroller accessible. Most of the tour is inside, so if you're in Denver and you have a bad weather day, this can be a really good option. Of course, a lot of the tour is about the Broncos, but you'll get some general sports history and also some stuff about Denver too. But if you're a sports fan like me, being able to walk or run down the tunnel onto the turf and spin around with the seats empty all around you, that's always a treat. Even if football isn't your thing or your main sport, you're in Broncos country and you'll see more of the stadium than most locals have. Speaking of sports, even if they weren't the sponsor of this video, I would still recommend checking out the Basketball Social House in Centennial. I've made videos about this Topgolf of basketball in the past, and it's truly unique here in Denver and so much fun. It's 21,000 square feet of food, fun, and basketball. You can book your own private suite, join a league, or work on your game using the same shooting machines used in college and the NBA. This video is all about upgrading your experience while you're in Denver, and the Basketball Social House is upgrading how Denver does basketball. Also, the food is really solid all around. It's much better than Topgolf and pickleball places that have popped up around the country. Renting a suite and shooting around for an hour with some friends and then getting some food and hanging out after is one of my favorite things to do anywhere in the Denver area. And of course, because it's in the burbs, parking is easy. You can book a suite online, it's stress-free, and can be a lot more fun than just catching up over dinner. If you end up at the Basketball Social House, let them know where you heard about it, and I'll link to their website in the description. A lot of people, even people who've never been, will tell you to go to Meow Wolf. It's kind of a weird place. Also, if it wasn't clear, this is the Meow Wolf mascot. I wasn't just holding this up to the camera. This opened a few years ago, and I've been many times, especially with friends who are visiting. I've also been to the original in New Mexico for this truly unique type of art. One thing with Meow Wolf is there can be a lot of kids running around during the daytime, so you end up skipping a lot of stuff because you're a nice person. This place is memorable on its own in its very own way, but you can make it even more memorable if you're traveling with adults by going to a Danceportation or Adultiverse night. These are 21 plus nights, and they happen roughly 3 times a month. Danceportation is more of an electronic music thing. You're encouraged to wear crazy costumes. You don't have to, but if you haven't packed yet, keep that in mind. If that sounds like fun to you, you might also want to look at Roll Denver. It's not affiliated with Meow Wolf at all, but it combines electronic music, roller skating, and alcohol. It happens once a month. And for Adultiverse, would you say Adultiverse or Adultiverse? I'm struggling. I think it's like Adultiverse, like multiverse. I don't know. And for Adultiverse, they set up bars and they have unique cocktails. It's only adults there, so you can kind of just go around at your own pace and actually have conversations without being interrupted by kids running around and screaming. Also, I'm not being a hater. We have a 4-year-old and 1-year-old who are sleeping upstairs right now. I'm just telling the truth. Tickets for both of these are generally pretty easy to get, so if you were gonna go anyways and you're traveling kid-free or you are kid-free, this can be a better way to do Meow Wolf. Also, some people will tell you to go to the Church of Cannabis to check out the light show. It's not a full-fledged thing like Meow Wolf, but if you are time constrained, you can check it out, but most people will tell you to go to Meow Wolf. This one is well outside of Denver, but if you're visiting in the winter or summer, driving out west to Evergreen Lake can be a pretty awesome afternoon. In the winter, it's the world's largest Zamboni-groomed outdoor ice rink. There's a lot of qualifiers there, but it still sounds cool. You can rent skates there, and they have those weird stool things that kids can push around so they're not falling all over the place. You're surrounded by evergreen trees. The snow looks awesome in pictures. It's one of those things that can trick you into thinking you want to move to Colorado, like if you visit Seattle in the summertime, and then you realize that Colorado has snow for like 8 or 9 months a year. If you end up going out that way, I would encourage you to just stop, in a safe place so people aren't running into you, and just take it all in. It's much cooler than you might think. Also, if it isn't peak winter yet, make sure to check the website for the Evergreen Lake, because if it's not frozen, you're not skating. We had one winter where we had this string of 60-degree days over and over, and people were still going thinking that they were gonna go ice skating, and I don't know what to tell those people. In the summer, the lake is open for stand-up paddleboarding, canoeing, all kinds of water activities. They even do yoga on stand-up paddleboards. You can rent all the gear there, so you can actually do this somewhat spontaneously. Make sure to check their website too in the summer, because the schedule does fluctuate a little bit. Especially if you're staying west or you want to do some nature light without going to Rocky Mountain National Park, this can be a great thing to add to your trip. I just realized Dinger's shirt was pulled up for this whole video, but I can't go back and fix it. If you're finding things to do in this video so far, please give it a like to help other people do the same. I'm a local YouTuber here in Denver, not a random person who's been here once, and I have a huge stretch goal to hit 20,000 subscribers by this time next year. If you can hit that subscribe button, it's totally free. It helps me get there, and I'll keep making videos to help you get more out of your time in Denver. Now let's talk about the Denver Performing Arts Complex, and before you say that this sounds really basic, I will explain. If you see a musical here, you really can't go wrong. My wife and I saw Dear Evan Hansen a few years ago. We're gonna see Kimberly Akimbo in a few weeks. They have different spaces for outdoor events, community events, and plays. Let's be real, Broadway musicals are pretty expensive and people don't really come to Denver to see them, but this can be a great way to spend less money and still check out a really cool part of the city. Also, for a lot of us, it's probably been a very long time since you've seen a play, and they're actually pretty cool. Our friends Amy and Tim, who were Go With Less on YouTube before, they used to volunteer there and we used to check out plays there all the time with them. It was a lot of fun. So let's say you've already done all the Denver food spots. You went to Kike's Red Tacos, Buckhorn Exchange. You also went to Sushi Den. You tried Blue Pan Pizza. You went to Linger and Root Down. Why did I not put up my thumb? Now let's get some music with your meal by going to Nocturne's Sunday Vinyl or Ophelia's Electric Soapbox. Nocturne is a jazz club with multi-course meals and cocktail and wine pairings. Many people say that this is their most memorable meal in Denver. If you're into wine, every week at Sunday Vinyl, a sommelier pairs wines with an artist or genre, and, they play them on records. At Ophelia's Electric Soapbox, you can get tickets or just reserve a table and have a full meal while you're taking in a show. Also, that building used to be a brothel, sex shop, and peep show. They're not shy about the history of the building, so keep that in mind if you're traveling with kids. As you might expect, all of these are in the $50 to $100 range, so they are kind of expensive, but it could be a good way to round out your Denver experience. But if you're ready to spend some more money, you can. My wife surprised me with the exotic supercar driving experience out in Golden a few years ago. It's still one of my favorite things I've done in Colorado. So yes, it's out in Golden. It does cost hundreds of dollars. It needs to be nice weather, but you will never forget this. Like you might expect, you get to drive supercars. We're talking McLarens, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, all things that get like 4 miles a gallon. This is actually a picture of the car I drove. It was a McLaren. It was really awesome. It was actually the car I wanted to drive, and I actually got it. It was randomly assigned, so I was thrilled. You actually get to drive the cars through the canyons, and you're traveling as a pack on a set route that's between 15 miles and 105 miles, and they're priced accordingly. You do need to have comprehensive insurance, and you need to be over 21 years old. You can bring a passenger as long as they can sit in the front seat, because there are no back seats in these cars. This is not a track experience. You're driving on real roads, following other supercars. You get to open it up every now and then as you're hugging turns, and you will have the biggest smile on your face when you hear the engine. For obvious reasons, the supercars cannot drive in the snow, so this might be more of a summer, early fall type of thing. I think it's been 7 years since we did this, and I still remember it vividly. If you're coming out here for a birthday or anniversary type of thing with someone who likes cars, this could be exactly what you're looking for. This video was all about finding experiences to do in Denver, but if you're looking for those regular things to do, here's a video I made that has helped about 100,000 people plan their trip. And if you're looking for more places to eat while you're here, these videos will help make sure that every meal you have here is good. I'll catch you over there and on the next video.